Good afternoon and welcome to a new week. Welcome to the channel. Love you all long time. I normally say that right at the end, don't I? Anyway, hope you had a good weekend. If you are part of the Astral Backers, thank you very, very, very much for helping me continue what I'm doing on the Northern Exile YouTube channel. If you would like to support me, if you like my stuff, and you want to be on this Astral Backers page, then please go to the Patreon down below and give whatever you can to help the channel get towards £750/$ target per month. If I can do that, then I can stop relying on that revenue, because it goes up and down. And, you know, it tends to be whatever YouTube wants that month they do, sort of a thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, fantastic. I'm going to do a new one at the start of July. So at the start of every month, we make a new page with new names all over it, when I can do it. So, we'll be doing it this month as well. So, if you want to get involved also in the prize draws that are on the 22nd of next month, you have 2 chances to win £30 worth of models from Composite Games. So, speaking of those, in the description down below, if you are getting any sort of model apparatus or things that you want for 40k, or any game really that they sell, you can use the promo code Northern Exile down below to get yourself 5% off at checkout. They already give you 20% off, so that's a hell of a saving, all in all. So, thank you very much to them. Thank you very much to you for watching the channel. And, yeah, I suppose let's get on with reading some hobby nightmares, shall we? So today, we're going to go on about some controversial opinions that some of you tell me you have. So we shall dive in and see what that is all about. But first, we have 2 normal, quote-unquote, hobby nightmare stories, and then we'll get into your unpopular opinions. So, first of all, we have Coffeeholic. Hello, man. He says, good day, Northern. Good day. Hope things have been going well this week. Yeah, but it's Monday, so I don't know. Yeah, they could go well, they could go not so well. Before I get into my story, I'd like to say how awesome it is that you are able to use your hobby, the YouTube channel, as a way to give your daughter and grandfather the things that they want or need. It warms the heart to hear of wholesome people able to do what they want for those they love. Cheers, man. Yeah, I mean, I had a comment the other day that I actually wanted to address, and it was like, you know, why did you... It's a fair question. It was, why did you go to America when you have a daughter? Why did you go over there to get married when you have a daughter? Quite simply, but at the time, I was not allowed to see my daughter. I was not allowed to see her. I wasn't allowed to go anywhere near neither were my family. In fact, my ex's family weren't even allowed to see her. And I only say this because none of you know who I am. None of you will know who I am in terms of my name and things like that. Because I say some personal things. You're never going to be able to find those people because, you know, we've got shall we say precautions up in place. You know, so no one's ever going to be found. No name's going to be found or anything like that. So yeah, it's so for a while there, we weren't allowed to see my daughter at all, and that really tore my heart out for years. But it is what it is, because men in this country don't have very many rights when it comes to their children. They just don't. It's awful, really. So yeah, that's why you have people like Fathers for Justice, you know, people like that. They sprung up in the mid-90s, I think, or early noughties. Didn't need to use them, because in the end, when I got back from the United States, I was able to actually somehow reconcile with my ex, and we're actually, like, not good mates, but we're getting on really well right now. So, you know, things are going really well. I get to see my daughter, and instead of me just paying to essentially make sure she's alright from afar, now I can actually pay and actually see that she's alright, you know? That means a lot to me. And that's why a lot of what I make on the channel goes towards that, because it's a new thing that I'm getting to do that it's incredibly precious to me, and yeah, it means a lot to me. So and I know even people have emailed me and messaged me saying that they've been in similar situations with their kids, you know, and where they've not been able to see children, and they're paying a lot of money but not getting to, you know, be dads at the end of the day, you know. And I've always said, whenever I'm asked by a lady, because sometimes, you know, when you're talking either online or you're talking, well, I don't do online dating anymore, but like when you're talking in a bar or something, and people say, you know, you have people say to you, you know, what are your plans for kids and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to have more kids, but in a selfish way, it's because I want to do it right this time, and I'll actually get to be a dad for a while, you know, at least for the earlier parts of it too. But, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, if you struggle like that, then let me know, you know, because I'm here to, you know, make sure that you're all right as well. Anyway, let's move on with the story, shall we? So, my hobby story, I would categorise as both a horror story and a subsequently gatekeeping on my part, alright? This is coming from a guy who hates the concept, but after the gatekeeping video, I started to think on it. I had a D&D campaign a long time ago that still gives me giggles from time to time. A buddy of mine was running a 3.5 group for his brother and friends and wanted to add a twist. This was before 8th edition. He knows I enjoy playing off-the-wall characters and asked me if I was willing to run one as the party was having an issue with some encounters. Little did I know this was a lie, but a lie in what was very necessary. I agreed to roll up my trademark Ithalid sorcerer, who was exiled from his clan and decided to move from the Underdark to study the younger races. My character always wore a ring of disguise, self, that never dispelled unless it was removed. Given they are a sorcerer, anytime someone would try to figure it out through detect evil or magic, high charisma and bonuses to buff and such kept the peace and kept them at a distance. I arrived and greeted the party. The brother and one of his friends returned the greeting and was happy to have experience in the party aside from his brother. The other player was quiet, so I took it as that they were shy. A rather plump fellow, he would always wear a fedora that was ratty to say the least, but dressed normally otherwise. We started in and immediately I knew what the issue was. This guy was positioning himself as the de facto leader of the group and demanded for me to prove I was who I said I was. A high roll of persuasion checked that confrontation. He persisted, but the DM shut him down. Yeah, he's metagaming because he knows there's something wrong with your character. All was normal with bouts of arrogance from the dude. Told me that my friend knew I was going to be the echo he needed to shut the guy down. Every cheeky thing he tried was met with opposition by me and the two other players. Alright, fair enough. The defining event started out with us going after a group of highly skilled bandits who had sacked a royal convoy and had taken our lord's daughter hostage. We brutalised them after a rousing combat session and left one of the bosses alive. We tried to persuade for the information, but low rolls kept us at a stalemate. I then had an idea, but would have to tell the DM. We break for snacks and bio, and I told him I would reveal myself to be a mind flayer to the party, and that I would consume the brain of the bandit to gain the memories needed to locate the princess, as this guy was on his last legs and bleeding out. He thought it was a great idea, but that guy would have an issue. Okay, here we go. Everyone agreed with my plan, except arrogant Pally Boy. He challenged me to combat, and I advised we shouldn't given the length of time left in the session. I made my advances to the bandit, and he swung at me in game, thus making it clear I needed to fight him. So the fedora guy and the mind flayer are about to fight. I still had my mind blast ability, all mind flayers have, that stuns creatures in a cone of 60 feet in front of me for 3d4 rounds, for those who do not know. Fedora Boy failed his will save and was stunned for a good number of rounds. I then started the grapple process with my tentacles and getting all of them on his head. Fedora Boy is screaming at this point, saying how it isn't fair, but the DM said it was a valid, giving that he swung at me first. I extracted his brain and ate it right there, killing the Fedora Boy and learning Smite. The player sat in stunned silence for a moment, grabbed his stuff hurriedly, and left without a word. Before I get too much shade, the amount of crap this guy had tried to pull was too much for me to type out. We had given him multiple chances to stop at this behaviour. Hope the rest of the week goes on as well. In regards to you and yours. Well, that's pretty cool. I like it when people get the comeuppance, especially in D&D. I don't like de facto leaders. Do you know what I mean? People who like just put it upon themselves to lead the group, to be the commander shepherd of the group. Just seems a bit off to me, and I really don't like it. But, you know, each to their own. Good on you, though, for shutting it down. Right, Brimborium. This is more of a shall I say, serious one. He says, let me just double check, because I did. There we go. Okay, brilliant. I did message this person asking if I could read it because it's a bit personal, and I just double-checked that he said yes, and you did. So there you go. So Brimborium says, I am a 29-year-old male, and was in a relationship with a woman I met online who was massively into Warhammer. Jackpot. We met in a fitness group on Facebook, and when I saw her Death Corps of Krieg wallpaper, I knew we had to chat. That night we chatted on the phone for over 8 hours. Wow, fucking hell. Over the next year we talked daily, whether it be over the phone or through text. Not only did we share the passion of Warhammer, we had nearly everything in common. 6 months after we just chatted, I flew to the other side of the US to meet her, and we had the most wonderful weekend ever. Brilliant, man. I mean, I've been in this situation before. It's always nice when you meet somebody who's, you know, in the same mindset as you. We confessed our love for each other and started a relationship. She flew out to me a few months later, and again, we had a wonderful time. After that, she told me she wanted to move in. She wanted me to move in with her, and eventually move to Germany together while she finished school there. I was so happy. Fast forward to February this year. It's the night before her birthday, and we're chatting on the phone like we usually were. We said our good nights and I love yous and went to bed. When I woke up, I sent her a happy birthday message. No response. I figured she was asleep or went to class early. I went on my phone and tracked the package I sent to her house, a Krieg Commissar on horse from Forge World. Later that night, she calls me, and I say happy birthday. But it wasn't her, it was her mother. I was informed that my girlfriend had died in her sleep that night. She was 31. The coroner later informed us that it was from a seizure. She had a history of bowel and heart issues since childhood. A fatal seizure wasn't out of the realm of possibility. I flew back out there, and we buried her 9 days later. Her mum gave me all her Krieg and Dark Angels models. It's been nearly 5 months since she died, and I can't bring myself to open the box of models. Maybe one day I will. I like to think she's with the Emperor now. So, the reason why Brimborium brought this to my attention in his follow-up message was that he wanted to experience, or at least talk to other people who may be in a similar boat, in a similar situation. I can only give my sincerest condolences, man, because that sucks. Absolute donkey dick, and it's not great, to say the least. I think it's even worse because as nerdy people, we very rarely find the one. Do you know what I mean? Especially one we're all, because physical attraction means a lot. I don't care what anybody says. So if you're physically attracted to somebody and they're into all the same stuff as you, and you can't start speaking to each other because you're just so excited to just talk about anything because you're always into the same stuff, that's a unicorn essentially. That's what we call the unicorn, right? And when you find one, and things don't go well eventually, like they split up with you or they cheat on you or whatever, that's bad enough. You know, for this to happen is devastating. And you know, thankfully, touch wood, I've not been in a situation myself. You know, I have been in a situation where I lost what I thought was the love of my life, but it wasn't through anything like this. Thankfully, you know, don't hold bitterness like that in your heart. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But yeah, this sucks, and I can't even. And it's a bad story for me, really, because I can't even give you any sort of advice because I've never been there. You know, and I think that's kind of one of the worst things as well of the story is that, you know, you're 29 and nearly everybody you ever speak to has not been there. They will not know what you're going through, especially not with somebody who, as geeks, as nerds, we can be quite lonely people. We can be people who perhaps don't feel like we have a chance of getting love or companionship in life, you know. I know quite a lot of nerds who just give up on it altogether and say, well, it's not happening for me, that's fine. And they tell me they're happier for it. You know, they're just happy. But meeting the one and then, you know, having this happen when, you know, we're also nerds and we're also, you know, that kind of way, it's devastating. So, you know, you have my condolences, and I'm here for you. If you need to message me some more, then you know, just message me, and you know, we can have a chat. And of course, if anybody is in the Discord or anybody is in chat now or on this video and in the comments, you know, always come forwards to the Discord, and if you see Brimborium around, have a little chat to him. Maybe tell him what your experiences were with loss and things like that. It's terrible, and I hate the fact that you have to go through that. It's just shit. And yeah, all I can say is that I'm here for you if you need me going forwards, and let me know, and I'll see what I can do. All right. So let's head over to some. Let's over to some unpopular opinions. Let's go. All right. Let's have a go. Ladlaskin, Shin, lovely, and Quaid. There we go. So, this one's from Quaid. Hello, Mr. Quaid. He says, "Hi, Northern. This is regarding your unpopular opinions thing mentioned in the Discord." Yeah, so every now and again, I'll go into the Discord and I will ask for submissions for a particular video, and this is that video. A while ago, I decided to create a small cluster of isolated systems to base my own little Warhammer setting in, taking place out in the fringes of some corner of the galaxy and cut off from the rest of it at large. Think sort of Frontier vibes, but in space, and that could give you a bit of an idea. No marine chapters within a reasonable distance of everything, mostly just a planetary defence force or two, combined with some sisters of battle that crashed on our planet, and have no real way back, and thus have been trying to rebuild on such an already inhabited world. Some Xenos exist about the area, and Nurgle has eyes on it, plus the human inhabitants don't really see eye to eye, even those who had known her life previously in the Imperium. With no hope or aid of any reinforcement, they have to rely on themselves for survival. This ultimately led to the thought regarding the state of the Imperium as a whole, and applying it to a larger scale. This might not be an unpopular opinion, more so a hot take, but I think it could make the setting as a whole more interesting, if GW did finally let the Imperium die, rather than being in a constant state of dying. By no means do I want it to be completely wiped out as a result, more so just properly factored and no longer functioning as a unified entity. Not only would this mean letting various worlds or sectors declare themselves to be independent little empires instead, you can even have those who still align themselves with the Imperium and its ideals, still keep a presence on Terra of the Inquisition and Custodes and such. This would give a fair bit of freedom regarding factions and just what exactly their identity is and such, and their ideals and beliefs can be. Both for GW/Black Library writers, but also those who want to create new homebrew lore. This will also give a reason on the tabletop for human factions to fight against each other, resources, old grudges, ideology, etc., alongside making other forces in the galaxy actually be a threat to humanity. The Dark Eldar, Tau, and so on will be more than just thorns in the side of a massive empire spanning the galaxy, becoming a credible threat. This other channel, Pancreas No Work... I'm sorry, but this person has like pancreatic cancer or something, which is actually quite a really serious cancer. If you did a channel that was called that, I'd be like, man, this guy is just a fucking Chad. Made a video on this subject a while ago that got me into this bit of lore in detail. It's about 13 minutes long and might be worth a watch. That sounds like a really interesting. The one bit where you got me there was when you said it allows Imperial factions to fight against each other. One of the things that I really don't like is that you have so many different Marine factions, and so when an Ultramarines player plays a Space Wolves player, it doesn't really make much sense, you know what I mean? But this would allow it to make sense. This would allow it to make, or if there's a Space Wolf, Brotherhood, or whatever they're called, Wolf Pack, whatever, it's Wolf something, in it, over on one side of the galaxy, and they're now beholden to this mini empire, and shit like that. One thing I think there is a stumbling block is the Imperium is so totalitarian and so out there in terms of brainwashing people that I don't think many would be willing to abandon it like that. You know what I mean? I don't think there would be a lot of people in the Imperium who want to break away from the Imperium. It's a very interesting subject, and it's something that I wouldn't mind writing if somebody wanted to do that for a campaign setting. I'm actually in the midst of thinking what I would do for a campaign setting right now, because I'm going to do one for the channel eventually. But that's a really cool idea. I think it's not really a hot take. I think it's a cool idea. All right, so Ek the Tanker, all in one word. All right. Whatevs. Sup Exile, and really enjoying the videos. They're way less depressing, and they are way less depressing Warhammer version of Bill Burr's stuff. Cheers, man. I said this on Patreon the other day to somebody who messaged me, and they compared what I was doing to like Bill Burr's podcast, but with Warhammer. And that is the highest compliment I've ever gotten, because I started this channel mainly through just talking shit, because I wanted to do what Bill Burr did, because he just sits there with a microphone, talks shit, and then just says, alright, see you later, puts the phone down, that's it. That's all he does. Yeah, so thank you. Ekta Tanker says, hopefully my writing is more legible than what you've been getting. Cheers, man. Do you know what? It's been pretty cool so far. It's been pretty cool last couple of weeks. So, he says, anyway, my hot take and unpopular opinion. For orcs, knobs should be changed from an elite unit to a troops unit. An opinion I've reached a decent amount. I've received a decent amount of pushback on. As I see it, there's no difference between knobs and heavy intercessors, and their roles in their respective armies, except the latter is a troops unit, while the former is an elite. All things considered, seems like an unnecessary nerf. Yeah. Let me just have a look at the orc knobs data sheet. Let me just have a look at what they're like. So, movement 5 inches, okay. 3+, 5+, yeah, normal orc stuff. Strength 5, normal orc. Toughness 4, normal orc. Wounds 2, pretty good. So I think what people are saying is that the boys, I don't think they're 2 wounds. Are they not? I do not think they're 2 wounds. Orc boys data sheet. I don't think they're 2 wounds. So I think what people are saying. Yeah, the 1 wound. So I think what people are saying is that the 2 wound thing is showing a Space Marine level of toughness, you know, and rejuvenation ability. And I think an Orc Knob, he has 2 wounds because he's more, you know, he's more killy, essentially. You know, he's bigger, he regenerates faster. And I don't think a normal Orc would regenerate as fast as a Space Marine. And I think that's why all Space Marines now have 2 wounds. And I think that's why Orc Knobs are elites and not troops, because they have 2 wounds. And so the normal Orc, what they're saying is normal Orc troops are not as rejuvenative and as you know, tough in terms of wounds and staying power as a normal Marine is, which is true, because if that was the case, Orcs would win every single battle that they were ever in, because, yeah, in the lore, because, you know, there's far more of them than there are Space Marines. I'm reminded of a game back in the day where it was like a Roman Legion game, and 1 Roman Legionary was worth like 20 Gaulish tribesmen. I mean, obviously in real life that's not how it would work out, but, you know, in terms of the game balance, that's how they did it. So I can see why I can see your point too. And what I would say is, I would say if they're going to be, and let me put this to you. How about if we put their save as a 3+, not a 4+, and then we made them elites? Do you know what I mean? Then they would be elites to me, you know? I can see what you mean. I can see what you mean by when you say stuff like that. But I do think that what they're trying to say, your Games Workshop, I kind of get. You know what I mean? They have 2 wounds there. They shouldn't really have 2 wounds if they're, you know, if they're troops and they're in the Orc Codex. Anyway, moving on. Angry Chainak says, my unpopular 40k opinion is that playing smart or competitive lists can detract from the experience. I have played several games with lists that were designed to be competitive in order to counter another player with a competitive list. Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost. Regardless of the outcome, I never really enjoyed that kind of play as much as I did creating lore-inspired lists or using units I thought were just cool. My gaming group ditched competitive play back in 8th edition because we realised that we preferred playing narrative-style games. No win with a competitive list has ever been as satisfying to me as placing Kharn the Betrayer on the table and telling my opponent that my entire focus during the game will be getting Kharn the Betrayer into combat with the opposing warlord in order to claim their skull for Khorne. I always load Kharn with a few units of berserkers into a Spartan and drive it straight at the opposing warlord. Khan usually claims his kill, though I often lose the game. I don't care though, because I always have fun. Okay, yeah, brilliant. So, that's great, and that's kind of how I play as well. The games that I don't enjoy are the games where you're playing narratively like that, and you're doing something that actually hampers you and makes you worse against the opponent to make sure that it's a good narrative game, and then the opponent tries to close off that story thing, do you know what I mean, like you're trying to do. So he's already winning the game. Easily, you know what I mean? But then he'll do everything in his power to stop Khan, like he'll metagame it. He'll do everything in his power to stop Khan doing what you exactly want to do, do you know what I mean? So to me, that's kind of like metagamey, like you're in D&D, you know what I mean? It's like, well, the only reason you're not trying to stop Khan from getting that to win the game. You're trying to stop Khan from getting that to stop me enjoying the game, which is shitty behavior. Do you know what I mean? Am I explaining that right? Yeah, like I just don't like say for me. I'll say like, look, that lieutenant over there looks really cool. So the Astral Blades are going to try and capture that guy, and if I do that, then I'll be happy. But the rest of the game, I'm just going to play it really fluffy, and you know, you might win, you might lose, and the other person wins by about 50 victory points to 6 or whatever. But and so they're winning very easily the entire game. But then they go out of their way to throw everything else into stopping me from getting that lieutenant. It just seems to me like, okay, you're only doing that to stop me from having fun, and that's really shitty behavior. Do you know, you're winning the game, congrats, but like this isn't the way to you know what I'm saying. So so to me, I sort of do that as a little test to see if I want to play that person again. If that person does shit like that to me, then I won't play them again. That's well, okay, fair enough, I just won't play you again, no worries. But yeah. My Iron Warriors army, says Angry Chainax, is my second favourite force to play. I envisioned it as an elite warband specialising in boarding actions, so it is made up entirely of Terminators. I rarely ever win with this force, but it always takes a heavy toll on the enemy, and my opponents often remark that it is a cool army to fight. Anyway, competitive games definitely have their place. I have so far never refused a game with a competitive player, but I will not change my army to better counter their list. I think meta list building gets in the way of a good game. Well, I don't think the last bit is controversial. Do you know what I mean? Because it does. It does get in the way of a good game. I don't think it's controversial at all. I think meta lists, if somebody gives you their list and then you change yours to beat them, do you know what I mean? Because you're desperate to beat them. That's a dick move, and you shouldn't do shit like that because it makes people not want to play. Because they're like, well, it just enhances bad behaviour. People then start keeping their lists away from each other, just in case the other person is going to start, being a dick and metagaming them and meta-listing them. I don't like it. That's one of the things that I don't like. I don't like gaminess, and I don't like what's the word? I don't like pettiness either. Like somebody going out of their way to make sure you're not having a good time. It just kills the hobby. I will say, it's not exactly a terrible thing for you to say, look, I don't like competitive play, because you say it has its place. And I don't think it's an unpopular opinion for you to not like competitive play. I don't think that's a, how do I put it? I don't think that's a controversial opinion or an unpopular opinion. Because I know lots of people who don't like competitive play. But at the same time, I think it would be an unpopular opinion if you said, competitive play shouldn't be in the game at all. That's when you would get an unpopular opinion. Yeah, that would be an unpopular opinion. But I don't think at the moment, I think you're fine, man. I don't think anyone's gonna have any sort of an issue with you not liking competitive play. There are lots of people who don't like competitive play. Anyway, let's move on to our next lovely unpopular opinion. So, Green Mage says, oh, this is an actual unpopular opinion. Okay, let's get into it. Green Mage says, what are your, so it's me asking a question, what are your unpopular 40k or Warhammer opinions? He says, 1, it's a good thing that there are no female Space Marines. Okay. I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. Just saying. I think the lack of inclusion of female Space Marines are a good thing in the setting. The Imperium is a religious cult and is extremely petty and awful in an all too human way. Blatant and petty sexism and arbitrary gender roles in armies like Adeptus Astartes and Adeptus Sororitas fits well with the Imperium's archetype and reminds you that the humans are not the good guys. You know, along with stuff like the flying suicide bomb cyborg babies, the cherubs. Yeah, and inquisitorial labour camps. Also raising stuff like gender discrimination in the Imperium and making it less awful, along with GW repeatedly making Space Marines altruistic heroes in media, may mislead people into thinking that the Imperium is the good guy and inevitably attract more far-right individuals into the hobby who don't realise it's satire. Also, Emperor doesn't want Space Marines, female Space Marines replacing humanity, but that's a post hoc law. Okay, yeah, we'll go into that in a minute. Okay, cool. There was a really cool... This is me talking now. There was a really, really, really cool quote that I saw the other day that I was just like, that is amazing. That just sums up everything in one big, you know, one big FU sort of a thing. I'll see if I can find it. It'll be on another video, I think. Yeah, here we go. So it's let me just have a look. Okay. So, I demand female Space Marines. GW hobbyist. Will you buy a battle box of them if we make them? Go into a game store? Yuck, no. GW hobbyist. Then why do you care? Because I want you to have to use them. That's why we're never going to see female Space Marines. And we shouldn't. You know, in absolutely all manner of things. It just is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Like, there shouldn't be female... Look, the setting is what the setting is, alright? You have female Space Marines, by the way. They're called Adeptus Sororitas, and they look awesome. They actually look better than Space Marines. So, you know, they're in power armor, they're female, they're large... They have better mechs and things like that. They're just a better looking army, to me. At least they are. But I love rubes. So there you go. Alright. Number 2, he says, Malal should be considered canon in Warhammer 40k. For those of you who don't know, Malal is the chaos god of not liking chaos. As most people who go to a channel like Northern Exile probably know, Malal was a chaos god that was used in the Warhammer Fantasy Battles IP, and was planned to be implemented in the Warhammer 40,000 IP. GW lost the rights, and when they realised they don't own concepts made by freelancers and blah 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 blah, the rest is history. What most people don't know is that GW, being GW, decided to steal the idea and recycle it. Here is the description of Demons of Malal. Armies of insectoid and beast-like chimeras that would consume everything in their path, including themselves. Obviously, this sounds like the sodding Tyranids. GW also took the classic Malal colours and used them for an anti-chaos warband called the Sons of Malice. GW co-opted the idea of Malal in 2 separate factions, despite not owning it, and it seems very clear GW intends for Malal to be present in the setting, but keep it low-key to avoid being sued. Even as late as 5th edition Codex, GW stated that the Tyranids were controlled by something. Again, quoting, Tyranids are guided by a hidden intelligence far more powerful than even the Norn Queens. That's where the name comes from. Right, okay. Anyway, sorry. Further aspects of Tyranids also line up with Malal's MO. They function the same as demons in many regards, but reversed. Demons in large quantities weaken the material realm around them. Tyranids in large quantities weaken the warp around them. Shadow in the warp. Tyranids specially target the food of the Chaos Gods, everything but Necrons, but can still feed Malal through the self-destructive nature of the Tyranids. I hit the message limit, so I'm cutting off the mad ravings here. That's interesting. I like it. Definitely like it. Very good one. Alright, here's another one. From Mr. Pancake. He says, mostly orky kit bashers look out of place because there's very few vehicles in real life that match the weirdness of 40k vehicles. The best ones are the vehicles that don't show 90% of the beginning item. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think Orc vehicles should have many pieces of Orky bits on them, to be honest with you, rather than doing anything else. But anyway, moving on. Horace Lupercal says, here's an unpopular opinion. Ultramarines are not that bad of a faction. No, they're not. It depends what you mean. It depends what you mean. In terms of the lore, in terms of the game, I think they're a really cool faction. Quite balanced. You know, they do a lot of things really well. And do a lot of things really averagely, you know. In terms of the lore, I don't think it's the Ultramarines' fault that they're lame. That they're lame as fuck. You know. That doesn't mean they're a bad faction. Being lame doesn't make you a bad faction. They're just lame as fuck. So is Robert Gilliman as well. Just lame. Put it this way. Do any of you guys like wrestling? Bang! Straight out of left field. Wrestling analogy. So, back in the day, for those of you who know, there was a thing called John Cena's Reign of Terror. And it essentially meant that wrestling was really boring for about 8 to 10 years because John Cena was involved in it, and John Cena was always winning, and even when you stacked the odds completely against him, he would win, and even when you had a really interesting storyline going on somewhere else in the company, he would invade it, make it about him, and win, right? Yeah, okay. That's what Robert Gilliman is for Warhammer 40,000 right now. The Shield of Baal was the Blood Angels' moment of triumph. It was a really cool moment for the Blood Angels. When the Tyrannic Wars were going on, nobody was coming in and helping the Ultramarines. They just won it on their own. Do you know what I mean? And it was set up to have the Sanguinor come back, or a reincarnation of Sanguinius within the Sanguinor, or something really amazing is going to happen. Are we going to get another Primarch coming back? Oh my god, is it going to be the Lion? Is he going to come back and help? What the hell is going to go on? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh no, it's Gilliman. Alright, and he just clicked his fingers and solves the problem. Okay. Alright, well, that was fun while it lasted. You know, and that's why Ultramarines are fucking lame. Because they just can't keep their noses out of everything else. And, you know, that's annoying. That's annoying to everybody else in the hobby. That's annoying to everybody else in the setting. And the fans of any other factions in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Fuck off. Leave us alone. We're having our own little war over here. We don't need you. Go away. Go away. Right? That's why they're lame. Beyond all of the Honourable Battle Brother stuff. Beyond all of that. You know, they're just lame as fuck, dude. And, you know, is what it is. So. This person has a load of logos as their name. So I'm not going to read that name out. He says, hey Exile, this is my first time writing anything to you, for a video at least. I'm the guy with the weird letters you see in the comment section here and there. Yes, you are. Since my name is written in Croatian Golitic alphabet, just call me Marin, okay? So here's the unpopular opinions. My first unpopular opinion is that 5th to 7th edition rules were vastly superior to 8th and 9th edition rules when it comes to vehicles. I've never personally played those editions, but I did some research on the rules. The fact that armor values exist mean that somebody can't just spam a low strength, high AP weapon at any tanks or other vehicles and just obliterate them with sheer volume for low points costs. Right now, vehicles feel like they're made of wet paper. You just look in their direction and they are absolutely destroyed. Yeah, I'm gonna come back at you with that. I think that issue could be solved if you keep the rules as they are, but ensure that only weapons with a certain AP value can even touch vehicles. Job done. That's it. You don't need anything else. So say it like it needs to be an AP3 weapon, or it's not going to get through a vehicle's armor. Done. Don't need to even go into the rest of it. All good. Right, that solves that problem. Or you could make it that you can hit it, but it's on 6s. You can wound it, but it's on 6s. So if you don't have an AP3 weapon, you're wounding a vehicle on a 6. That's it. There's no, you know, that just is what it is. My second unpopular opinion is the fact that in lore, Slaanesh is always portrayed as the god of excess, but GW doesn't really portray that very well in the model line. They just kind of look ugly. When I think of Slaanesh, I want to see excess and beauty in body armor. I want to be both amazed and disgusted by the models at the same time. The community really doesn't help this case either, as they just show a single aspect of Slaanesh. the sexual, and they rarely go beyond that. I think the Header Knights of Slaanesh from Age of Sigmar do Slaanesh much more justice than the demons of their 40k counterparts. You have the beauty, the body horror. There's even the one more morbidly obese guy in a chariot. I want to see more of that as a Chaos and Eldar guy. Yeah, all right. No, I completely. Second part, I'm with you on that one. Completely with you on that one. That's amazing. Yeah, dead with you. Anyway, that will be me for now. I'll be back with more unpopular opinions over the next couple of days. We'll start splicing them into our videos. But thank you very, 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 very much for watching. If you want to become a backer of the channel, then please go down below onto the Patreon link down below and help me out. Help me get to that £750/dollars target where I can stop relying on bloody ad revenue. And if you want to help me out a little bit more, head over to Composite Games and make sure that when you're buying models, then you do a good deed by fulfilling a need, so to speak, as Lord Voldemort says. And you get your models from Composite Games. You use the promo code Northern Exile down below. You get 5% off at checkout, and you already get 20% off. That's 25% off you could be getting if you use the promo code down below. Thank you very much for watching. Love you all a long time, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.